You know, there's a conversation happening inside your body right now that could completely change how we think about mental health. It's a hidden dialogue, and scientists are just now starting to eavesdrop.
For decades, we've looked for answers to things like anxiety and depression almost entirely in the brain. But what if that's only half the picture? What if a huge key to how we feel isn't in our head at all, but a little further down, in our gut? And that's the wild idea we're diving into.
But before we get to the gut, let's just set the stage for how big of a deal this really is. We're not talking about a small problem. We're talking about a global health challenge that affects hundreds of millions of people every single day.
Let's just try to wrap our heads around these numbers. According to research from Frontiers in Microbiology, about 3.1% of the entire world is dealing with major depressive disorder. That's over 240 million people. It's an absolutely staggering number, and frankly, it's growing.
And it's not just depression. Anxiety disorders? That number's even bigger. We're talking nearly 5% of the global population. That's close to 400 million people. So the need for new ways of thinking about this is, well, it's urgent.
For a long time, the main playbook for treatment, things like SSRIs, has been all about targeting chemicals like serotonin directly in the brain. And look, they help a lot of people, but they don't work for everyone. And that's pushed scientists to ask a really important question. What if we've been missing a major player in this whole game?
Well, that missing player might just be the trillions upon trillions of microorganisms living inside your gut. It's time to get introduced to your microbiome. This really represents a massive shift in how we think. We used to see these microbes as just, little helpers for breaking down food. But now, we know this internal world is this powerful, influential force that affects everything from our immune system to, yes, our mood. So what does a healthy gut community even look like? Well, think of it as a bustling, diverse city, where different groups of bacteria live in a delicate balance. You've got the big players, like firmicutes, that are great at getting energy from our food, and bacteroidetes, which are pros at digesting fiber. And this is where it gets really interesting. Scientists are seeing a stark difference. In healthy folks, the gut is like a thriving rainforest, super diverse, full of helpful, anti-inflammatory bacteria. But in people with depression, that diversity often crashes. It's more like a barren field where pro-inflammatory bacteria start to take over. The bottom line, there's a real measurable difference. Okay, so if the gut and the brain are connected, how on earth do they communicate? It's not telepathy, it's pure biology. The best way to think about it is like a complex, high-speed information superhighway running right through the middle of your body.
The official name for this network is the microbiota gut-brain axis. Now, the most important word there is bidirectional. This is a two-way street. Your brain sends signals down to your gut, that gut feeling or butterflies in your stomach. But just as importantly, your gut is constantly sending signals right back up to your brain.
This superhighway has 4 main lanes of traffic. You've got direct nerve signals, you've got hormones, you've got messages from your immune system, and you've got chemical byproducts that the bacteria themselves create. Let's zoom in on a couple of those.
So let's look at 2 of those lanes. First, there's the vagus nerve. This thing acts like a direct fiber optic data cable, zapping information back and forth in milliseconds. Then you have something called the HPA axis. This is a slower hormonal system. It's our body's main stress response circuit. And guess what? The microbes in our gut can actually influence the release of stress hormones like cortisol.
So what kind of messages are being sent on this highway? All sorts of stuff. Get this, gut bacteria actually help produce neurotransmitters, the very same ones we talk about with brain chemistry, like serotonin and GABA. They influence stress hormones, they can kick off inflammatory signals, and they even produce their own unique chemicals that can travel all the way to the brain and impact how it works.
All right, this is where it gets really, really exciting. If an unbalanced gut can contribute to mental health issues, then can we rebalance it to treat them? This single idea is blowing open entirely new doors for treatment.
And scientists are already exploring a whole bunch of different ways to do this. You've got probiotics, which try to add specific good bacteria back into the mix. You've got dietary changes like the Mediterranean diet, which help create a better home for those good microbes. And then there's the more radical approach, fecal microbiota transplant, or FMT, which is basically an attempt to completely reboot the whole system with a healthy sample.
And the science here is moving at lightning speed. Researchers are now looking beyond just the bacteria to the viruses that infect them. They're called bacteriophages. So now they're exploring fecal virome transplants, which transfer only these viruses. The thinking is that this could be a safer, more precise way to reshape the gut community.
It's pretty wild.
All of this incredible research has given birth to a brand new term, psychobiotics. These are not your average everyday probiotics for digestion. Nope. These are specific strains of live bacteria that have been shown to have a direct positive benefit for mental health. It's a revolutionary idea, right? A probiotic for your mind.
So where does this all leave us? The potential here is absolutely huge, but it is so important to be clear-eyed about where the science is today and the road that's still ahead. We have to be realistic. A lot of this amazing work has been done in animal models, and so far the results in humans have been pretty mixed. We don't have a standard probiotic prescription for depression yet. What we desperately need now are big, well-designed human trials to turn all this exciting promise into proven, reliable treatments.
But this quote really captures the mood in the scientific community perfectly. The debate is shifting. We're no longer asking if there's a connection between the gut and the brain. That's pretty much a given. Now the big questions are, how exactly does it work, and what are the smartest ways for us to intervene?
Which really brings us to our final, kind of mind-bending thought. Just imagine a future where, instead of just getting a pill, your doctor could analyze your unique gut microbiome and prescribe a personalized diet, or a specific psychobiotic cocktail tailored just for you to improve your mental well-being. We're not there yet, but for the very first time, that's a future we can actually start to imagine.